So hi everybody, I'm here at the Hublot booth at Baselworld, and I'm here with Maxime from Sang Bleu. Some of you may know him, some of you may not, but I'm going to let him introduce himself to you.
My name is Maxime. I'm Swiss. I live in London now. I have a tattoo studio in Dalston. Most people will know where that is.
It's where all the cool kids hang out.
Yeah. I have a studio in Zurich as well. I do many things. I do design and art direction. I do publishing and tattooing as well. And I designed a watch for Hublot, among others. Started about a couple of years ago, and we are releasing new versions of the watch this year and a new design next year. Very exciting project.
And it's a huge pleasure to be talking to Maxime right now. The watch that he designed for Hublot, I'll post some details of that later, but it's just absolutely beautiful. And I've just unfortunately had the dissatisfaction of telling him that he's just been ripped off by Samsung.
That's the original.
This is what the original should look like and does look like, and it's just a beautiful piece of art. I would say it's more than just a watch. And I think what Samsung are trying to do with technology, and especially trying to marriage that gap between wearable technology and actual watches, they are trying really hard, but they don't have any innovation. They're just not doing stuff that's exciting. So Maxime, I mean, from your perspective, tell me what makes a good watch.
Wow, so many different things. There's so many different reasons to buy a watch, but I would say in many ways actually watches are not that dissimilar to tattoo, because you can come to buying a watch from many different, from collecting, from passion, but also from a textual one-off desire for something that you will invest money in, etc. What I would say is there isn't a perfect watch, but there is a perfect watch for you. There is, I think, a watch very much like a tattoo, something you should spend time understanding the logic, understanding what art. It is overwhelming. It is daunting. It is when you're starting to get into watches. There's so many options and a lot of things look alike. But just find a good magazine, a good media, a good person. There's plenty of information, plenty of media out to guide you. And then start with what you know, what your reasons are, and is it a statement, a status, a kind of a status thing? Do you want something that is discreet, that is classic, something that is show off? There's many different reasons, but what I would say is for each different reason, there will be certain watches that do it better, and some others that don't do it that well, and at the end of the day, once you've sort of gone through the bushes in front of the forest, you'll start seeing really much clearer, and you'll see that some people really get things right in whatever style, some others don't. I would say once again, what makes a good watch? I couldn't say, but I could say that there aren't that many good watches out there. And at the end of the day, and finding the person or who will guide you through that's what's crucial. Because at the end of the day, if it's a first one for you, after that you'll have your own you'll have your own criteria, your own taste. But there are people out there who can guide you for your first purchase, your first, or maybe only.
Yeah. So with the collaboration between you and Hublot, it makes absolute sense. Hublot is a relatively new brand, and they're known for being, I guess, controversial originally, with mixing precious metals with rubber and all that sort of stuff. Would you collaborate with any other brand, or does the DNA and the essence of that brand really matter for you?
It's a very good question. I would have given a different answer a few years ago probably, because I only knew watch brands from the outside, and there were a couple. I've been collecting watches that other brands that I was looked up to as well, and that would have been. But what I realize now is that none of these other brands have the guts, but also the spirit to do something, to really go for what someone like myself would, the ideas that I would come up with, the ideas that, and right now I would say, no, there's no, for me it was a match made in heaven. It really, really was. And someone like Jean-Claude Biver, I find, obviously, is a kind of messiah for the
legend, isn't it?
Yeah, and really, it's really inspiring. And what I'm trying to achieve with what I do, from the creative and the entrepreneur side of what I do as well, and is I'm extremely inspired to see how Jean-Claude Biver put everything together and managed to keep the spirit alive on such a large scale, and even having sold Hublot to LVMH, but nonetheless the spirit is absolutely still there. And I think this is, I couldn't see anywhere else now where I could I still thrive in this relationship.
Yeah.
So there's no others now.
That's amazing. Let's talk about the watch. Who are you looking to appeal to with the designer? Obviously you have a big fan base, people that love your art, but who are you trying to appeal to with this particular piece?
We didn't really think like that. I think it was my approach to design and to what I do to art is never limited to a medium. It's always a vision, and the people that I work with, and also people who like what I do, I think they might be touched, they might be intrigued by a specific design or a specific style, but then I think the majority of them understand the spirit behind it, and they identify with the spirit. So at the end of the day, I think that we wanted to create a watch that represents the same spirit, that really would be true to what Sang Bleu is, to what I do, or how I do rather than what I do. And that's what Hublot really got on board with and supported and went for, and that's what worked out, because we couldn't have told you, we couldn't say we want a watch that will talk to this or that person.
Yeah.
We wanted a watch that was an emanation of our our common work, and that's exactly what came out. And I think spontaneously, people, without knowing why, because the product is completely true to that spirit, people connected with it without thinking, without wondering if they liked the design or not. They could see that there was something really extreme and pure about it, because we didn't compromise. For the very reason that we didn't think like that, maybe
That's amazing.
we just
That's
went
really
for
great
it.
to hear.
Yeah.
Those kinds of projects are so rare, I think, in the commercial world we live in. It's all about ROI, or people trying to justify something, or to fit into a box, like a production process. But I think one of the beautiful things about Hublot is they have that flexibility to really customize on top of their main framework, and it shows in the beautiful piece that's created. Two more questions. First of all, what inspires you generally? Not about watches, but in life. What's your inspiration?
Everything inspires me. I'm a very sort of sensitive person, and I vibrate with everything around me, with my environment in general, whatever it is. And of course, I have a certain lifestyle now, but through my life, I have worked in many. I've traveled, I've moved country, continent, and I have always taken some sort of inspiration, some sort of elements from whatever environment or people are around me, visually, culturally, politically, anything. So in the end, it really is. In some ways, it's a quite egocentric sort of point of view. Who doesn't? But you know, there's something of that. But on the other hand, I do belong very much to a certain generation of people who live this sort of globalized culture and something quite extreme and but also quite holistic in some ways, with a perception of culture that is not just linked to one practice, one style, one profession, but who perceive culture as a lifestyle that extends into business, that extends into politics, that extends into education, everyday life, from the way you eat, the way you drive, the way all of this. And I think I would say, well, you know, every day of my life is inspiring, from my children to my friends to acquaintances and people I meet every day like yourself. But then I do probably represent a certain generation. And in some ways I could put my finger on it, but I would say that people resonate with what I do for this reason. So I'm sorry, I'm giving you kind of a non-answer.
No, that's great. It's really good hearing you speak, actually. You have a real depth to the way you articulate yourself, which is great. My last question is, today there's lots of companies trying to get into the wearable technology space, doing all sorts of crazy things. Generally, I would say it's not that exciting. So, give me your thoughts. What do you think of where wearable technology is today? Obviously, LVMH have started to enter that space with Tiger. What are your thoughts and your opinions?
Well, that's very interesting. I will give you an answer, an indirect answer. If you look at something that I know quite well, publishing. When traditional publishing got through a real crisis with the rise of social media. And what is really interesting is that past the fear of, print is dead, etc. Now that the dust is settling, and you can see that print is not dead, and that certain traditional formats of publishing work, but we needed to go through a period of craziness and fear and excitement and appropriation of all these things, and to figure out, like, what was that good for and what is it not good for. And what I think with technology in general, but in particular applied to watches and to the watch industry, I think that is exactly what the watch industry is facing in the next few years. I have no doubt that it will have no problem surviving, but it definitely needs to understand where do all these new technologies, etc., fit, and what makes sense, and no one can know. No one has a crystal ball.
No one's hit that eureka moment yet.
Yeah, and I think it is exciting. Personally, I know what I like. I think it is exciting. I personally I find it completely uninteresting. In all honesty, I have no interest for connected watches and smartwatches, because I think the very essence of that device is completely useless.
It's not there.
I don't think it fits any. I don't think it fills any gap. I think it's a completely artificial and made-up device.
Yeah.
And
it's addressing a problem that doesn't exist.
Exactly. I think every day I use electronics all day. I'm working on an iPhone. And I think it's pretty clear and pretty striking how certain devices clearly feel a need and help and need to be improved, etc. And some others absolutely don't. Personally, I have no doubt that connected watches are useless and that they are going to. But that's not really the point. I think that they are what is going to last is not the connected watches. It is how it challenges and forces the traditional watch industry to question itself and to update itself.
Really
and the crisis is not because of smart watches. It's because something had been lost, or maybe the watch industry got a bit too cocky or too confident at some stage, and there's a lot of discussions about price bubbles and overproduction of things, blah blah. We those who are interested in watches know about that, and I think the real crisis is that, and the smart watches, connected watches, just bust the bubble, or push toward just the last little bit. I don't think connected watches are a problem in themselves, or at least not to a certain range, to a certain top tier of watch industry. I think in any case there's probably could be some blending on the lower level, the kind of digital watches. We all know the
low price point.
Exactly. Exactly. I think on that level, and I think on that level, watches can probably, with the expertise of economics in particular, I think that there definitely should be collaboration between a certain type of watch industry, a certain level of watch industry, and people who make devices. Because I think that on the other hand, technology firms that only focus on software, only focus on a basic, where the hardware remains quite basic, I think are actually really struggling with the interaction with the body and with habits beyond sitting down in front of a screen. And I think this is something where the watch industry and the sports, sportswear industry, etc., have completely, obviously, are super advanced in these types of questions. And I think the synergies and the collaboration and the exchange needs to happen on that level, because technology industry needs to integrate much more of the habits, much more of the physical side of what their devices do. And they're really behind on that level, and the other way around. That's the expertise that exists, among others, in the watch industry. So I think that there can be a lot of collaboration, a lot of exchange of competences and information. But I think that what luxury watches are, what they represent, etc., needs to always be updated. But I don't think it can really be threatened or touched.
Too early, isn't it? And I think there's always going to be that space, as you talked about, where people are appreciating mechanical technology in a different way, and in a way in which digital just can't do. Maxime, thank you very much. Really appreciate your
Great
time,
pleasure.
and it's an absolute pleasure meeting you.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon, guys. Thank you.